Chairs No Waiting, episode number 735, Ghost and Mr. Chicken Review. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you by folks over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Head over to Weavers and check out some of the cool things they've got over there. They got the Ennio Tramps down there print. I thought that fit in good with tonight's episode because it looks like something right off the Ghost and Mr. Chicken or maybe the Haunted House. Go and check out that wonderful print. And while you're there, you might want to check out the Don Knotts 4-movie Reluctant Hero Pack or the Don Knotts 5 classic comedy movie collections over at Weavers. Head over there and check them out because they both have this movie in it this week. So, hey, Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners like you, and the executive producer of episode 735 is Dave Claroni. The Patreon patron of the week is Brian Saul, and our high sheriff for Two Chairs No Waiting is Chris Merrill. So thank you to all of them for supporting this podcast and supporting me. And who am I? I'm Alan U.S.M., the host of Two Chairs No Waiting. I've been doing Floyd the Barber since 1994 at Mayberry events. I was in the Mayberry Man movie. I'm in the upcoming Mayberry Man series. I'm a huge fan of this show we're talking about, the Andy Griffith Show. And so I'm here to just have a little fun, talk about things related to the Andy Griffith Show, and just share the joy because it is so fun, man. There is just nothing about the Andy Griffith Show to me that just doesn't make me smile. There's so much so many things. Now, again, this episode is going to be about the Ghost and Mr. Chicken. It's a Ghost and Mr. Chicken review. I did a podcast episode about this, the movie. And I'd done it before, so I thought, well, I don't need to do that before. But I started looking around. I don't need to do it again. So I started looking around a little bit and realized it was episode 159 back in October of 2001 when I talked about the Ghost and Mr. Chicken. I did two episodes. It was 159 and 160. So if you'd like to go and listen or watch those episodes, I'm not going to go into probably as much detail on this particular podcast episode as I did then, but you just never know. I don't remember what I did then. That was 12 years ago. So I figured, hey, maybe it's time I could probably revisit. I can revisit this and we can talk about it again. So, like I said, almost 12 years ago, I did this podcast, Ghost and Mr. Chicken. I just think it's time to do it again. The movie came on MeTV. It was on MeTV this past weekend on Svengoolie. Now, if you've never watched Svengoolie, it's a fun show to me. It fits right into my humor. He is a late night horror host, but he's not really scary or anything. But he gives you information about the movie that you're watching, and this week it was the Ghost and Mr. Chicken, and he said during that the Ghost and Mr. Chicken is the second most requested movie for them to show. The first is Abbott Costello meet the Mummy, I believe is what they said. So this is Ghost and Mr. Chicken with Don Knotts is second, only to Abbott Costello meet the Mummy. Or it could have been the Wolfman or Frankenstein. I don't remember. One of the Abbott Costello movies that they get it requested. And also on social media, Facebook, other places, it's been a buzz the last several days with people doing quotes from the movie and just talking about the Ghost and Mr. Chicken. So, hey, let's talk about this. Now, the movie itself is set in a town called Rachel in Kansas. That's where it is. And in my opinion, this was Don's best movie. This was my favorite Don Knotts movie. And I've probably seen it way more than I've seen most of his other movies. Not that I don't like them, but this one is just, it is so full of Mayberry townspeople and has so many Mayberry connections that even as I was watching it Saturday night on MeTV, I realized that, wow, why didn't they just call the character Barney? Why didn't this just be where he moved to? Why isn't that what happened? He could have just he was going to be a reporter in some town, and then he, comes back. This would have been perfect. because if you've seen the movie, and I know hopefully many of you have, he is dressed in the salt and pepper suit that Barney wore. That's what he wears in the movie almost the whole time. Not the whole time, but almost the whole time he is wearing that. When we first meet him at the very beginning, that's what he has on. Oh, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyway, I just think it would have been great to have seen. So let's start off. Of course, Don Knotts is the star of the movie. We already know that. And he plays Luther Heggs. Well, like I said, he's basically Barney Fife, but they just called him the wrong name. That's all there is to it. And the movie was written by Jim Fritzell and Everett Greenbaum. Now, Andy Griffith Show fans, we should know them because they wrote 29 episodes of the Andy Griffith Show, and they wrote an episode of Gomer Pyle U.S.M.C. as well. So, boy, they had a huge connection with the Andy Griffith Show. And Andy Griffith kind of helped to rewrite the script, or just not rewrite it, but kind of touch it up and boom it up a little bit. I've always heard that he was the idea behind one of the catchphrases that you always heard in the movie. Attaboy, Luther! Yeah, that one. Attaboy, Luther. That was supposedly, from what I've read and heard, was Andy's idea, to have somebody off screen that's yelling at Luther and other people. Attaboy, Carl! Yeah, Carl and other people. Attaboy, Judge! Throughout the day, he was different throughout the movie. That kept occurring, and it happens so much that if you see Mayberry Man, when Floyd introduces the mayor at the beginning of Mayberry Man, somebody yells "Attaboy, Luther," because in the movie the mayor's name is Luther Wilson. And that's not by chance, by the way. And so somebody yells out, "Attaboy, Luther." You've just got to be listening for it. So when you watch Mayberry Man, make sure you listen for that. I should also tell you that the person that's doing the yelling that you're hearing, "Attaboy, Luther," "Attaboy, Carl," well, that was Everett Greenbaum. It was his voice that was doing that. One of the writers, and again, a huge connection to the Andy Griffith Show. So that's him that's yelling that as well. Attaboy, Luther! Yeah, that's good job, Everett. Good job. So he's doing that. Now, the director, so they wrote the movie, Greenbaum and Fritzell, and the director was Alan Rafkin. Well, he directed 27 episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. Wow. Still that connection, right? I mean, it's pretty cool. So the first thing you see in the movie basically is this old haunted house that Luther is driving by. Now, that haunted house, a lot of people always think that the house is the Psycho house, or from that time frame. Now, it is not the Psycho house. That is not what it is. And the Simmons house is what it is in the movie. And it was originally built for a movie in 1946 that was called "So Goes My Love," and it was known as the Allison House, and the movie starred Donna Michi as well. So it was not the Psycho house, and it was not also the Monster house. It was always, that's the other one that the Munsters on that TV show, not the Addams Family, but the Munsters. The Allison House was similar in characteristic to those. If you watch the video version, I'll show some pictures of these things so you'll be able to see them. And it was, but it was not that home. It was, as I said, it was the Allison House made for "So Goes My Love" in 1946. And the movie, it was also used in Desperate Housewives, if you ever saw that, but they changed the roof line to, I believe, keep you from thinking that it was the house from Psycho, because they were built around the same time frame, so there's some of the material and things that they used were the same. It was also the Delta House on I believe it was a TV show called Delta House. It was a spinoff of Animal House, the movie. It was called the Delta House, and it was used as that house as well. So that's you've seen in several places, but there's a big difference between the house that was used on the movie and the actual Psycho house. There is a difference. The roof line is similar, at least in one spot, but the rest of the house is not at all similar. So that's the reason people always see that between the Psycho house and the actual house. You can see that. Anyway, so the actual house was in a sound stage as well. They had built it in a soundstage. So when if you watch the movie, at least I was noticing it, as the movie went along, you saw Otis, Hal Smith, was there. Now he wasn't Otis in this movie. He was Weems was his last name, right? Where is his name? I'm having to look here. I got Calver, Calver Weems. Calver Weems was Otis. And he was walking in front of the Sims house. The Sims? That's not right. It's not the Sims. I'm getting the houses. There's too many Mayberry connections with this stuff. The Simmons house. So he was walking in front of it, and that's where he got murdered. When Miss Clara was looking out the window and saw somebody hit him with a big stick and fell down. Well, Dawn was driving by because she's screaming murder, murder. So she's yelling out all that stuff as that's occurring. But what you will notice if you really paid attention to the movie, because I was really watching it closer this week, that was the lighting. It was so bright out on the streets there around the thing. And of course, Luther was saying that somebody got murdered, and they were trying to get him to calm down, just tell us what happened, because
Calm! Do murder and calm go together? Calm and murder? Murder
and calm.
Murder!
So he thought Otis had been murdered, and then of course not Otis. See, I'm going to keep doing that because it looks like they should be Otis. But they saw Calver. He came back and he's not dead. And so then, Don's character, Luther, is the laughing stock again. And he goes outside and he's doing his judo and all kinds of stuff. So all this stuff is in just the first few seconds of the movie. So you see Don Knotts, you see Hal Smith, you see Hope Summers, Clara. Her name was Susanna Blush. Was her name in there. Now somebody asked me the other day, because both Hal Smith and Hope Summers, they're uncredited, and so is Burt Mustin. He's not credited in this movie. Somebody asked me why, and my only guess would be because there are rules, especially now, as to who gets credit and who doesn't and how the credit works. But this was probably before some of that had been completely negotiated. So my guess is they didn't have enough lines, because if you remember older movies like that, if you ever watched them, they have very few credits. I mean, they only have like 1 or 2 screens of credits and then the movie's over. And now you go to a Marvel movie or something and the credits last 15 minutes or I don't know, probably not 15, but a long time. And the words are all so little, you can't read them. So then so some of the other characters that were from Mayberry, I already mentioned Burt Mustin. Of course, he was Judd or Jubal, Judd. He had different names on the Andy Griffith Show. We had Laureen Tuttle, who was in this movie. Now she was Mrs. Oh man, I'm going blank on myself because I'm looking at things. Annabelle Silby. She was Annabelle Silby. Tom Silby's wife. She was that. And she was also the shoplifter who was stealing from Ben Weaver, if you'll remember. But that was Laureen Tuttle. She was from the Andy Griffith Show. There was a lady named Jesslyn Fox. She was one of Aunt Bee's friends on the show, on the Andy Griffith Show, I believe. That's her. If there's a picture you can see there of her. But there are just so many Mayberry connections throughout this whole movie. So let me just read off a few of them, because I can't possibly show you all of them. Now I did do a website. If you go to, you'll have a link in our show notes, but it's at not iMayberry. I'm sorry, Mayberry.info. If you go to Mayberry.info, there is an entire Ghost and Mr. Chicken section for that. And it's got all this kind of information I'm giving you right now. It's there on the Mayberry Historical Society website, which is Mayberry.info. So you can go and if you go there, you can just search in the search bar and say chicken, and you'll be able to find it. And you can see some of the people that were in this movie. I'll read off some, but I don't have pictures of everybody. So here's the rest of the people. We had a person named James Milholland, who played Milo Maxwell, and he was Arnold French on Aunt Bee Takes a Job. Remember when Aunt Bee took a job at the printing press? He was on the Andy Griffith Show. Herbie Faye, in this movie, he was a man in the diner. He was actually the guy that was he ate with Luther and his girlfriend, I guess is what she would have been in the movie. He and Luther couldn't sit down. Well, that was him, Herbie Faye. He was the man in the diner. Well, he played Eddie Blake. He played a manager. He played Mr. Clark. He was on a bunch of episodes, the tape recorder episode, the Aunt Bee Takes a Job episode. He was Mr. Clark on there. Anyway, so he's on there. And of course, Rita Shaw, I don't have a picture of her here, but Rita Shaw was Big Maud on the Andy Griffith Show. And in the movie, she played Miss Halcyon Maxwell. Halcyon. So I need to look back, and I didn't. I should have done that. I wonder if Jim Fritzell and Everett Greenbaum wrote the episode where they talk about Halcyon Loretta Winslow. Halcyon Loretta Winslow. Because this lady's name was Halcyon Maxwell. Halcyon Loretta Winslow. Pretty name. Ugliest girl you ever saw in your life. Anyway, I don't know if they wrote it. I should have looked that up. I will try to look that up in the future here. Let's see. Another one. We had Maxine Simmons. She was one of the occult ladies that were there, trying to do stuff outside the house. Let's see. There were several of the ladies that were outside the house that were people that were from the Andy Griffith Show. And of course, you may not have noticed it, not from the Andy Griffith Show, but Mrs. Kravitz was on there as well. Mrs. Kravitz from Bewitched. She was on the movie. There's several people that were not from the Andy Griffith Show, but I'll probably, if I get a chance, I'll point them out. But you had the whole group of occult members there, and this lady here, I believe, was the one I was just telling you about. You guys can't see it. She's wearing purple, but I believe that is Maxine Simmons. She was uncredited, and she was in Only a Rose color episode and Politics Begin at Home, and she played Tilly Kincaid on the Andy Griffith Show. I think that might be her. I can't remember which one was Tilly, but I think that's her. Anyway, there is let's see, Ruth Throm. She was another one of the ladies that were here in front of the occult. They had the Psychic Occult Society of Rachel that were trying to save the house and everything. So they had those. We had Jim Begg. He played Deputy Harkle. He was the deputy in the movie here that we saw. So he was on the Andy Griffith Show as well, and he played Charles Keyes on the episode Aunt Bee the Juror, and he was in Opie's Drugstore just as a man, and he was in The County Clerk, another episode, as young man. So it's kind of hard to narrow him down, but he did have a name in the episode where Aunt Bee was the juror. You remember that one? So he was there. So he is the center square. If you get to see the pictures I'm showing, if you're looking on the Mayberry.info page, you'll see him there as well. Let's see. So some more of them. We had J. Edward Kelly. He was the mayor. Carlisle Preston. He played the governor, George C. Hanley, in the episode The Cannon. You remember that? The governor. He was the governor. The governor's coming here. That's him. All right. Let's see. We had Lee Krieger. Played Lester Summons. He was the summons server. That was uncredited. But he played Merrill Dean. I've heard that name before. That was in Gomer, the house guest. Merle, it's your shocks. Was that his shocks? Merle Dean. He was in The Bank Job. He was Mort. He was one of the bank robbers. And in The Pickle Story, he was the motorist from Oregon. You're driving so well, you get a Safe Driving Award. So that was him. If it's helping you narrow it down. Eddie Quillen. He was in several episodes of the Andy Griffith Show, but he was the elevator operator on the Ghost of Mr. Chicken that couldn't get the elevator to stop at the right height. I don't know if you remember that, but he couldn't get it to stop at the right height. Well, he was also the bellhop in the Taylors Go to Hollywood. He was on that one. I was thinking he was on another one, but that's definitely one. Charles Lane. Well, Charles Lane you should probably know because he was Mr. Frisbee from, Mr. Frisbee that had the chicken that gave to Opie that was, where Barney got drunk because they were tearing down his house. Remember that one? Let's see. And they had Robert Cornwaith. He was Luther's lawyer in the movie. He played Mr. Somerset, the one that was there for the dogs. Those Airedales, remember that's him. Cliff Norton, he was Charlie, the bailiff. He played Wally in Goober's Replacement. He played Wally on that one. I had Cliff Norton, who was, I just told you that one. He was Wally. He had Ellen Corby. Of course, you already know her. I did her. Mrs. Lash. We love you, Mrs. Lash. So, she was on here. So, she was the one that was testifying for Luther. Let's see if I can get this pretty quick here.
Well, for one thing, he never ate the crusts on his sandwiches at lunch.
I object. I move that statement be stricken from the record. A lot of people trim the crust on their bread.
Young man, he didn't trim them. He ate the inside out and left the crust.
Overruled.
Oh, I love that one. So that was her. She was, of course, she was Mrs. Lash. There was Phil Arnold. He was the jury foreman. I don't know if I have a picture of that, but he was the jury foreman in the movie. And I got lost. Here he is. And he was a hot dog vendor in the Black Day for Mayberry. So in the Black Day for Mayberry, there was a hot dog vendor on the street selling hot dogs. That one I didn't catch myself. Let's see. They had Seal Cabot. She was another one of the occult people, and she was from Andy's Investment. That's an episode. That's when he bought, I think, the laundromat. Let's see. And Al Chico, he was Gaylord Petty. He was the guy that was testifying for Luther about how great he was and all that stuff. And he was a public accountant. He was great. So he was that. So he was also on the Andy Griffith Show. He was Hennessy, and he was Howie. So he was Hennessy. If you had $250,000. His name was Hennessy. And then in The Bank Job in 1962, that episode, he was Howie. He was one of the bank robbers. So anyway, so that's basically my list of all the Mayberry connections in this movie. Again, I don't really expect you to try to remember all this. That information is all available. If you go to mayberry.info and just do the search bar and type in chicken, you'll be able to find Ghost and Mr. Chicken, and all that information is there. I posted it all for everybody to be able to go and see stuff. Now, there were people online saying that there were 29 or more people. That's the list of all the people I spotted, and I think it was only 20-something. It wasn't 29 or 8. So if I missed people, let me know, because there could be other people that I did not pick up on that were in the movie, and I definitely would want to get it right, because I think it's amazing that there's so many Mayberry people associated with this movie. Now, as I said, there's other people that were in the movie that are not, they're not connected to Mayberry per se, but there's at least one that I wanted to mention, because you may or may not remember this, but I do. So there's the band leader at the town picnic. He was the bandmaster. Now, he's uncredited as well. His name is Dick Wilson, is his real name. Now, for many years, from the 60s all the way through the 70s, he played Mr. Whipple, the grocery store owner who admonished customers saying, "Please don't squeeze the Charmin." Well, that was him. So he is in this movie as well. There are so many people that I'm sure I've missed others, but he was another one that was easy to catch, and hopefully you spotted some of them as well. So, folks, those are, I probably talked way too much. I didn't realize I had already said so much, but there is so much information about this movie that is related to the Andy Griffith Show. I just can't get through it all. I encourage you to go back if you'd like to, and some of the same information was dredged through in episodes 159 and 160 years ago, but it really hadn't changed because, there's not too much difference between now and then relative to the movie or to the Andy Griffith Show. But I believe we probably have got a few extra cast members that I mentioned now that I didn't know at the time. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And guys, it's a great movie. If you've never seen it, go and watch it. You can get a copy of it over at Weaver's. Like I said, there's a couple of things. There's a Don Knotts Reluctant Hero. It's a 4-movie set that they have over at Weaver's, and it's got the Ghost of Mr. Chicken, the Reluctant Astronaut, and the Shakiest Gun in the West, and the Love God are in that one. Well, there's only 3 of them though, so go get it pretty quick. And there's also a 5-movie collection that also includes How to Frame a Fig in it. So, but there's only 1. So definitely go and get it if you want it. But you can get all of Don's movies, all of those movies, The Ghost of Mr. Chicken, The Reluctant Astronaut, Shakiest Gun in the West, Love God, and How to Frame a Fig, which is another almost Barney movie. So definitely something you might want to go and check out. All right. So that's enough selling stuff for Weavers at weaversdepartmentstore.com. So how would you guys like to play some trivia? All right. So I'm giving you your fair warning so you can go and get your trivia pencil ready. So we're going to do it just like we've been doing it the last couple of weeks. Let me get my background music going. There we go. To the VW boys, thank you for letting us use that music. So again, it's going to be multiple choice. The rules are, if you can get the answer without getting the multiple choice given to you, you get 2 points. If you have to wait until I give the multiple choice, it's worth 1 point. It doesn't double up. So if you got it for 2 points, you don't also get 1 point. You don't get 3 points. You only get 2 or 1 per question. Okay. I had somebody say they didn't like my rules. I guess technically you can do it however you want to, because there's nobody's winning. You're not winning anything that I know of. Okay. So let's play some trivia. All right. Question number 1. In the episode where Opie was being bullied for his milk money, Andy told a story about a make-believe bully that lived in Mayberry when Andy was a kid. What was that bully's name? All right. That's for 2 points. In the episode where Opie was being bullied for his milk money, Andy told a story about a make-believe bully that lived in Mayberry when Andy was a kid. What was the bully's name? What was the bully's name? Okay, so it's worth 2 points if you can get it before I have to give out the multiple choice. All right, so pause if you don't want to know the answer. If you're not here live on Monday nights, we record live on Monday nights normally at 8 o'clock Eastern. So join us if you'd like to at live.2chairsnowaiting.com. All right, here we go. Now for 1 point. What was the bully's name? Was his name Timmy Schultz? Was it Lanny Crom? Was it Hody Snitch? Or was it Levi Crookshank? Okay. Timmy Schultz, Lanny Crom, Hody Snitch, or Levi Crookshank? What was the answer? All right. So you got your answer. The correct answer for 1 point at this point is Hody Snitch. All right. So how'd you do? Did you get 1 or 2? So you got 1 or 2 Pretty easy. Or 0. You could have just not guessed, or you guessed wrong. All right. Number two. On the episode Family Visit, where on the episode Family Visit, where were Andy's Uncle Ollie and his family from? On the episode Family Visit, where were Andy's Uncle Ollie and his family from? Where were they from? Because they came to Mayberry. Where were they from? It's for 2 points if you know the answer. Okay. So, on to the multiple choice. You get 1 point now. If you didn't know the answer, you get 1 point. Were they from Lake Charles, Mount Pilot, Lake Tahoe, or Charlotte? Where were they from? For 1 point. Lake Charles, Mount Pilot, Lake Tahoe, or Charlotte? Okay. All right. The answer is Lake Charles. They were from Lake Charles. All right. Question number 3. On the episode Divorce Mountain Style, in what direction did Barney have to ride the white horse? On the episode Divorce Mountain Style, in what direction did Barney have to ride the white horse? So you only got really 4 possible answers on this one. So I don't even know if you need the multiple choice. You already know what the choices are. Okay, so it's worth 2 points. What direction did Barney have to ride when he was wearing a black suit riding a white horse? What direction? All right. Was it north to south for 1 point? Was it north to south? Was it east to west? Was it west to east? Or was it south to north? Okay, so I don't know if that was even helpful. The 2 points, you either got the 2 points or you didn't, because, I mean, you already knew the multiple choice. So, which direction did he have to ride the horse? The answer is east to west. He had to ride it east to west. So that was worth either 2 or 1 point. All right. Number 4. On the episode Andy Forecloses, how did Andy say Ben Weaver was going to die when his time came? On the episode Andy Forecloses, how did Andy say that Ben Weaver was going to die when his time came? That's for 2 points. Okay. All right. Now, for 1 point, you get to choose from these multiple choices about how did Andy say Ben Weaver was going to die when his time came. Did he say he would just nasty away? Or did he say he would take all of his money with him? Or did he say as a lonely man with no friends? Or did he say none of those things? Did he say none of those? Wow, I bet it's not that one. So what is the answer? For 1 point. All right. So the answer is, you either got 2 points already or you got the 1 point. The answer is he would just nasty away. That is the answer. All right. And number 5, our last question of the episode. Why did Malcolm Merriweather do something that caused him to leave the Taylor home? So this is really a hard one. It's really hard to get what they wanted you to get. Okay. Without the multiple choice. So this one's really hard. I don't know if you'll be able to get it. Why did Malcolm Merriweather do something that caused him to have to leave the Taylor home? Why did he do it? So there's really kind of 2 answers. So I'll give you either one of them is 2 points right now if you get it right. Okay. All right. So what happened, or why did he do something that caused him to have to leave the Taylor home? Okay. So that was worth 2 points. All right. So some of you, I think, are getting pretty close. I see in the chat room answers. But the answer they want was one of these 4. Okay, so here we go. Was he Okay, here's the question. Why did Malcolm Merriweather do something that caused him to leave the Taylor home? Did he was a drunk? He was trying to make Aunt Bee laugh. He overheard a conversation between Andy and Barney. Or Opie didn't like him. So one of those is the answer they're looking for. One of those is was he drunk? Was he trying to make Aunt Bee laugh? Remember, the question is, why did he do something that caused him to have to leave? Not what did he do, but why did he do it? Was he drunk? Was he trying to make Aunt Bee laugh? He overheard a conversation between Andy and Barney, or Opie didn't like him. All right, so there we go. There's the answer. There's the questions. Okay, so the answer that we're looking for, which is really only easy to get, or fairly easy to get if you know the multiple choice, it was he overheard something, a conversation between Andy and Barney. That was what caused him to do something to have to leave the Taylor home. Now, what did he do? He got drunk, supposedly, but he poured the kitchen sherry down the drain. He didn't actually drink it. But why did Malcolm Merriweather do something? He also may have done it, and you might get some points. I would not be opposed to that if he did it because Aunt Bee was upset. Aunt Bee was getting upset. That's really where all happened, right? Because she wasn't feeling useful. So maybe you could claim that as well. But the answer we were looking for was he overheard the conversation when he came downstairs, remember, to get the milk that Opie had left on the table beside the open windows to the front porch. He overheard a conversation between Andy and Barney. All right, so there we go. All right, so how did you guys do? So there was a possible... you got 10 points. Excuse me. You could have gotten 10 points for that. How did you do? Did you get 10? Did you get, 1 point each? So you got 5, anywhere in between. So how did you do? I'm sure you did pretty good. All right, folks, that is all I have tonight for this, but I do want to mention, hey, we've got a event coming up in Scottsburg in a couple of, the end of June. I definitely want to encourage you to be at that. It's Mayberry Comes to Scottsburg. You can go to mayberrycomestoscottsburg.com, get all that information. And I want to mention that the 11th annual Mayberry Meetup is coming up in July. So I definitely encourage you to go to the event in Scottsburg. Maybe you can't come to the meetup. I understand. The meetup is just a relaxing time where we all get together in Mount Airy and sit around and visit together on Friday and Saturday night. The rest of all day long, you can go do whatever you want to do. Come back with all your friends and Mayberry friends and just sit around like an old drive-in movie and watch an episode of the Andy Griffith Show and talk and just visit with one another. So you can head over there and sign up. So we're looking about possibility of having a pickle contest. A pickle contest. Well, the reason is this is the 11th annual Mayberry Meetup. And if you look at our Mayberry Meetup artwork, it's got a blue ribbon on there that says 11. Well, if you'll remember, Clara had won the best pickle contest for 11 years in a row. 11. So there was some thought that someone that they would like to maybe try to have a pickle contest. Now you gotta have made homemade pickles. They can't be store-bought pickles. They gotta be good old homemade pickles. And if you'd like to be a part of that, I'm going to have some information in the coming weeks. But think about it. Go ahead and make you some pickles if you want to, and have them ready. And we'll have a pickle contest, and maybe we can find some judges to judge it. But I'm just all full up myself. I just don't think I could eat them right now. I'll just wait and smoke it. I eat it later. I'm just going to have to wait. So if anybody would like to be a part of the pickle contest, be thinking about that, make you some pickles. And I'm going to have some information about how to get in touch with Joanna. She's going to be the one that's ring leading this. So we'll be doing that in the coming weeks. So before the pickle, you don't have to join before then, but I would like for you, if you would, to head over to the site there for the Mayberry meetup and sign up if you are coming. I've got some things to give away. I have things right here. Matter of fact, people who sign up are the only ones that are going to be eligible for this. You got to be there too, but we're going to do a drawing. I actually have a certificates for one squad car tour. That's right. So I'm going to be giving away squad car tours, good for one tour from the squad car. So definitely get signed up, because only people who sign up for the meetup are going to be eligible to win these. Okay. So I'll be pulling a winner, and I don't remember. I think you can get as many people as you get into the car for the one, but it's for one car load. And so definitely go over and sign up. The link is in our show notes. You can go to bit if you want to just go there, but you can go to bit.ly/Mayberry Meetup 2023 if you want to just go there, and you can sign up to be that you're coming, and let me know and give me your information, and I'll have that. And it'll actually take you to the page that's got the schedule, and it's got all kinds of information in there about what we're going to be doing throughout that weekend in July. So anyway, so that's something, if you're still here, maybe it's something you would like to do if you're in the area and able to come up and see everybody, or you can just go and read all the information there. The link again will be in our show notes, so don't feel like you had to write that down, but it will be there. So folks, that is everything I think that we had tonight. So I am so thankful that you're here. The next few weeks, we're going to be running some reruns of the podcast, because I am going to be out of town for one reason or another for the next 3 weeks. Not the entire week every week, but enough that I can't do a podcast episode. So I'm going to have some episodes ready, and I'm probably going to do introductions and everything, but we're going to show some best of Two Chairs No Waiting episodes, which I didn't know there were best of. And so we're still going to be meeting on Monday nights. And if you want to see it early, you can come to the premiere on Monday night, and then it will release as normal on Tuesday. Okay. So everything will release as normal. If you want to watch the video though, it'll be available on Monday nights for a premiere. So all the chat room will still be here. So you can head over to live.twocairsnowaiting.com and you can be a part of our podcast. So, all right, guys, that is all I have. I want to thank you for being here with me. I would love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415, or you can email me at floyd@imayberry.com. Hopefully I'll still be in touch with everybody while I'm traveling a little bit, but if not, I'll see you guys when I get back. I'm going to miss you, so keep me in your thoughts and prayers, and I will be around, hopefully answering questions and talking with you guys as I go, maybe posting some stuff on Facebook, who knows. So folks, thank you for spending time with me in Mayberry, and we'll see you next time right here on Two Chairs.